In this video, we will see the journey of building a house that is a little different, as the construction method will be inexpensive and it is supposed to be built within 10 days only. You are watching Craft Wilder DIY on YouTube. Subscribe to us if you like this type of content. At first, they started to unload the wood from the transport vehicle, then they arranged and organized it well, and they began to cut it into parts in order to install them in the foundation of the house. They tied each part together so that it would hold firmly. In the end, they installed all the pieces and the foundation of the house remained square. They entered the inside of the square that they had made to divide the house from the inside. The stabilization phase, and in this section, they used a drill with a very strong fastener so that the house would be cohesive from the first moment. Here, it is clear that the house was divided into 3 parts. They began to measure each part and cut wood with a rocket in order to form a second layer from the inside, and this layer will be useful in the event that something gets stuck from the inside or a hole appears in it as they please. After the installation stages, they make sure that everything is perfect. After that, they build the floor. They buy flooring wood and fix it in the foundation of the house. Between each piece and the next, they put glue for the wood to hold it together. In addition to that, they connect it with nails, and so the floor is considered finished. They started cutting the parts that come out of the floor to make it equal to the foundation of the house. Then they bring wood to cover the empty places on the ground and to hide the glue or adhesive. This way it will look nice in the end. Now, in the stage of building the walls, they brought thin wood and began to fix it in place and secured it with nails so that it would be fixed very well. As I told you, the cost is supposed to be low, so we do not want anything to happen to the walls. Later, we discover that they brought the same type of wood used for the floor in order to build the walls with it. They brought it, cleaned it, fixed it, and secured it again, and began to put this layer in a larger quantity because this time the wall has a larger area than the floor. After they finished all the parts, they brought the wood and raised it lengthwise in order to create a larger space for the ceiling and began to install the first sticky wall. This was not enough. They brought more nails to fix it in a stronger way. They did the same thing for the second wall, and after they finished it, they attached it to the first wall. In this way, the whole thing is as if it were intertwined with each other. Here, you can imagine with me the shape of the house, how it might be made. And with the third wall, we begin to see that they put glue in the place of fixing the wall more than what they put on the wood itself, meaning it surrounds the ground and the wall together, and this will provide the greatest possible cohesion. That's how they entered the corner next to it, and here we see them moving the second wood from the inside of the house in order to complete the rest of the walls. They discovered that after they finished the corner, in order to complete the rest of the walls, they should leave a wood insulator between each one and the other, and this will provide cohesion and at the same time allow them to stick together well. If they are put together, there will be a gap between the 2 walls, and this will cause many problems later on after work. Many people say that they want to make windows as well. They put them in lengthwise on these walls, but in order for the window to be made, one must be shorter than the rest, and in order for them to do this, one must be wide. In fact, they did the same thing on the other side in order to make 2 windows next to each other, then cut it to the width in order to close the window from above, and make sure that they are very close to each other. They reached a corner with 2 windows and a corner with a window and a place for the door, and here they brought the broom and began to clean the place from the glue that was present. The next day, they began to get wood to take it into the house and began to assemble it as if it were a desk or a shelf. They made 2 of these and began to bring a hammer drill to attach everything to each other using screws so that it would hold well. Then we found that what they did was just a precaution in order to divide and organize the house from the inside. They fixed each part to the main wall of the house. They cut the wood to a certain scale and then measured with pegs and triangles. Each part they cut, they placed it aside, and we find that they made a very large wall so that it would be as wide as the whole house, and part of it was emptied to make the doors. They went above the place to get wood and install a second plate on top to prepare the roof for sure. They brought the same adhesive material and placed it on the entire square of the house from above. They began to bring plain wood and put it from above in every place. After ensuring that it was fixed with the material they used in almost all stages of construction, they fastened it with nails so that the stability would be at its best. Here, after a long work, they finished all these parts. Now they reached the stage that will give the house the shape and design. With the same screws, they began cutting and splitting the wood. They brought the same wood for the floor and walls to make a ceiling and filled the rest with glue and nails to fix the required places. Then they put very thin wood for the ceiling because almost the wall they made from the inside will not be able to bear a weight greater than that, especially since they are sure to have rain as well. The wood with the rain will make the weight much less, and after a period of time, the ceiling is finished. It is considered that all the parts are installed and everything is fine, and we started to see the features of the final house, which is square and with one window. While they were on the ceiling, they began cutting wood and placing it on the edges to give it a different shape. They scribbled and then they fixed it with nails. They moved the work from the other side, they brought the wood and raised it and adjusted the height of the house, then they put in glue to make the ceiling stable. You will find them banging on the ceiling to stay in place. The glue material is applied here in a large quantity. It is just an increase in order to stabilize it from below and nothing more. Now they have begun the stage of making stairs for the entrance to the house. The house is raised from above, the ground is useful because the rain does not flood the place, and the height in general is useful for many reasons because it allows the owners of the house to make it like small warehouses under the house, and they can put the electric generator and everything under the stairs. They start cutting it and adjusting the required sizes after they finished a large part of it, and let it dry so that they can finish the roof again. And they started working on additional walls so that they can make the traditional triangle-shaped method. For homes, this method will be useful if you want to make it like a second floor or an extension. We see them completing the wall in a triangular way and making all the sides equal and making sure that they are securely fixed. Then they cut wood and adjusted its size in order to make the sides. The sides are a little more difficult than the front, so they brought it and it was fixed by means of a wood that comes out from the side and a second wood that is fixed in the ground. In order for them to be in the shape of a triangle, the same thing is done on the other side. So they will not make a second floor higher than it because there is no space for them to worry about. Basically, they install the structure and everything is adjusted as it is, so that it forms this small pyramid shape. And of course, they make a window in the middle from above to complete the design and final shape of the house. They bring a basket and install it on the outer edges. They move to the bottom in order to adjust the edges of the windows and the door. With the same tool, in the same way, they glue the four sides of the window so that they can put the window down comfortably. To fix the wood in the corners of the window, they must hammer it with a hammer, and then they do it with nails. The same thing is done here with the door. They fixed wood and hammered it so that it can hold, and then they do it with nails. And they do this so that when they bring a door or a window and install it in place of the nails, it will hold firmly. If they left it like this without these edges, there would be no part of the windows that would hold on to it. Then they completed the two parts of the staircase. They made the staircase in the style of long wooden columns that they installed on the ends of the whole staircase. They began to make the foundations of the floor. They wanted to complicate the construction of the staircase a little more than the rest of the stages, and we discover that they were making something like a gate for the staircase. They began to bring wood and install it in every place in the structure of the house, so that it has a square shape for the entrance. Secondly, there will be an entrance completely separate from the house itself. They brought wood and cut it with screws in specific sizes in order to complete the triangle shape above the entrance to the house as well, so that it would be in the form of two small pyramids in the whole house, which is the foundation of the house itself and its entrance. The entrance would be a little easier because the house must have a special type of cloth that they install on the ceiling to fix the second layers of wood on it, and at the same time to protect the roof of the house from rain and water. After installing the fabric on the roof, they complete it with the second layer of wood. They cut each wood and then attached it to the structure above by dividing the pieces and placing them next to each other so that it holds together and is very strong. They also brought a quantity of wood to control the external appearance. They started installing the main facade of the house. They brought lifting wood and attached it to the structure from the outer side and locked it with nails.
and the wood remained to complete the floor. Then it was completely above the roof, and each part was divided exactly, and the windows were also calculated. I believe that the reason for the wood being attached to the ground is so that large animals do not crawl under the house. Then they bought a working layer like metal or iron to make the last part of the roof and insulate it from water, and the house began to really appear. This layer is black in color and has the shape recognized in rural homes. Installing it was considered relatively easy. Every part was considered manageable. It was fixed with screws, the places of which are clearly visible, and each part comes in the exact size. They installed it on the ceiling after the ceiling was almost finished. They went down and completed a black layer in the corners of the house, and each part was fixed with a nail, making sure that it was secured in a very good way. Any mistake here would lead to problems and a lot of cost. They completed the connection of these parts in their places, and to connect each connection, the second one was done with very strong screws and it was fixed properly. The hammer method was used, but it is somewhat specific as it comes out of iron, or with a specific structure made for this purpose. They brought a small piece of wood similar to the wood that was connected from the facade to the ground, and a second layer was made of it to make it strong. We know that they do this to also fix the iron part from below and above. This part means that it is considered stuck in the ground. In the end, they used the same metal and fixed the wood from underneath, and they brought stones made in a certain shape. It looks beautiful, to be honest. And they placed this type of rock between the pieces of iron and wood in order to close the place completely underneath.
And to stabilize it, there must be an iron part. And behind it, there must be a hole for a nail that is held in the wood supporting the house. Note that the whole house is built on each other, meaning everything here depends on what was built before. Like a Lego game, they were the first to make sure that everything was installed correctly and very well. In order to avoid any problems that might arise, after installing all these sides, they worked on the corners. They are a little more difficult, but after measuring and cutting, they were able to do it normally and the rock sides were fixed. They made the whole house so there would be no corner left unfinished. The part below is considered finished in every corner, and they made it white in order to break the color and its coldness. They began to fill these spaces with such angles. They brought large white metal parts to make the facade with them because there is a danger that the house prefers wood, and they also noticed that snow could fall on them, so they had to make such a layer to protect it from the cold. In fact, they started installing all the parts on the side of the house and the stairs, and they did the same for them. The windows had already begun the installation stage. They fixed them tightly, and here they used a second drill which is light but very strong, and at the same time, with a sealing gun, they applied sealant on all sides. Then they installed the door and cleaned the stairs and the door. They adjusted these parts so that the house appears beautifully symmetrical. They worked day and night to finish the house as quickly as possible, and here they arrived at the last piece that would be installed above the door. This house building project was completed successfully. The team cooperated with skill for sure. The result is the completion of the required task. The shape of the house is beautiful and very practical. They are the ones who planned and implemented this. This is a great achievement. I challenge those who showed it to you. You will learn a lot. Next time, they did not mention how much the project cost them, but the materials, tools, and the city they are in really look like it was not the most expensive project. Write to us in the comments which step you liked the most in building this house, and tell us if you would also like to see construction videos of a second type. Bye!